Alignment is the only way to get to 100K per month or to become the millionaire version of yourself. Of course, it's just a placeholder to become really the best version of yourself. If you were physically the best version of yourself, meaning your habits, your actions, your thinking patterns, what you do every single day on a daily basis, how you focus, and the amount of energy and input you actually put into your work, that's able to derive an output. If that was already aligned to the 100K per month version of yourself, then you would already be at that version of yourself because your frequency would improve, your mood would improve, your ideas, the amount of input related to your output when it comes to your work would improve. Everything would be improved. So a lot of people talk about manifestation. I talk about productivity rules. This video is really going to be something kind of a hybrid into one, where look, if you want to become that 100K per month version of yourself, of course, you need a good business plan. You need a good business model. You need to be taking action. But what we're going to discuss in this video is things that I'm doing to align to that version of myself and to get there in the quickest, fastest way possible. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. So what to align? The goal is to actually become this person. The goal is to actually become this person. The person that easily achieves 100K per month, 100K months. So think to yourself, what type of person would I have to become to easily achieve that, right? Not difficult, not hard. If I were to become this person, who would I need to be? Would I need to work 12 hours a day? Would I need to wake up at 5 a.m.? Would I need to do deep focus work instead of distracted work where I'm constantly checking my phone? Because right now there's the person you are currently and the person you want to become that can easily achieve your goals. The problem is that most people try to achieve their biggest, grandest goals as the person they currently are, with the habits they currently have, with the thinking patterns they currently have, with the beliefs they currently have, with the same friends, with the same group of friends, with the same outfit, the same style, the same thinking patterns, the same everything, the same diet, the same sleeping patterns. And that's very difficult to do. It's nearly impossible to do. And if you're watching this, you've already tried that. So this is really about reversing it, becoming that version first. And once you become that version, everything else falls into place. It's much easier to get work done. It's much easier to hit your goals. In a 3 hour to 4 hour time period, you can double or triple the amount of work because you're in a deep focus work block instead of being, constantly being distracted and constantly getting phone calls and messages and checking TikTok and Instagram and YouTube and all these different things. So here's what that means. Our habits need to align to this 100K per month version. So what habits does a millionaire version of yourself have? Given all the constraints you have, given the schedule that you have, given the obligations and the responsibilities you have, if the millionaire version of yourself was in a parallel universe and had the exact same situation, how would they handle it? Or how would they structure their day? Same thing for productivity / input. Input meaning the things that you do related to work, your work blocks, your books you're reading, everything you're feeding your mind, right? How would they treat their inputs? And what about their productivity? If you compare that person's productivity to yours, how would it be? And I'll give you an example of all the things I'm doing in a second and how it can help you out to give you some actionable things you can actually implement. But then in terms of their performance, right? If you take, let's say, a billionaire and you compare it to your current performance, how would it add up? Like if you compare yourself to Elon Musk, like he's probably crushing you. He's probably crushing me too, and most people. But just to give you an example, how could your performance be at its peak? And if you do all these things, if all these things align to the 100K version of yourself, it's going to be so much easier to get there, to manifest that, to bring that into reality from the mental plane. But you need to take action and become that first. Everything else follows. All right, so here's an example of like what to do. The first things first, identify all the positive habits that your 100K version would do. Okay, so how would they work, right? Would they work? How many hours? How would they do it? Would they work being distracted? Would they work focused? Would they work in office? Would they work on the kitchen countertop? Would they work on their couch? Would they work with their feet up, or would they work standing up or focused, sitting down in a perfect work environment? What hours would they work, right? So imagine your daily schedule with all the constraints that you currently have. If the millionaire version of yourself was looking at your schedule, how would they optimize your schedule? Would they use a schedule? Are you currently using a schedule, or are you just kind of winging it every day? Are you planning the day before? Are you planning the next day, the day before, or are you just kind of winging it, randomly going to your desk and randomly doing things, and then wonder why you're not getting anywhere? Would they be checking their phone? How many times would you be checking your phone in a work block? The millionaire version, would he even do that? Would he even have his phone in the room? Or would he have it in a different room? And would they plan their calendar? Right? Would they use, for example, Notion calendar, Google Calendar? There's one called Motion. Some of these different calendar apps. But would they have a set calendar? Obviously, they can move it around. They're not a robot. But would they have something predetermined there, including their like off time, including their time with their family or their girlfriend, right? Identify all. And the second thing you want to do is identify all the negative habits that you repeatedly do. And this is something that I've been working on a lot. And I'll talk about some of the things that I implemented, even some simple things. But, like what are the lesser known habits that you repeatedly do that are slowly chipping away on your focus? Because the problem is it's really death by 1,000 cuts. There might not be something immediate that's like directly hitting you back in the face, but what are some of the small things that are slowly robbing your attention? Is it TV shows? Is it your phone? For 95% of you, it's going to be your phone. Just too much time on your phone. Look at your screen time. Is your screen time more than 1 hour a day? Is it more than 2 hours a day? If so, then why is it that way? Like, when I go to the gym, I put my numbers in on my phone. That's an example of like positive screen time. But for most of you, like, why is your screen time so high? Like the 100K version of yourself, how would they approach the phone? Would they be using it all the time, or would they be using it only for specific purposes? For most people, too much texting and calling, especially if it doesn't relate to business, right? Too much distraction. Where are you being distracted? I'll give you some examples of my personal life, but the last thing you want to do is you want to write all this stuff down somewhere where you can see it every day, the person you're becoming, and review it daily. So I have a journal where I'm like, okay, this is the version that I want to become. Here are this person's habits, and reviewing it every single day. Okay, did I do this today? Did I do this habit today? Did I do that habit? Constantly being reminded of, okay, these are the habits I'm embodying now into the new version of myself. That's extremely important. And seeing that every day, I have it right there on my desktop, in a folder, so I can look at it every day, check it every day, check multiple times a day, and see how I'm improving. Cool. Now here is the fun stuff. I'm going to be talking about what I am doing personally to align. This is going to be a little bit different for everybody, but I just want to share a couple of examples because we're all trying to align to that better version of ourselves. So the first thing I did, this was a huge game changer. Now, I don't have Instagram on my phone. I don't really have any social media apps. I do occasionally check YouTube on my phone, but I do it on Safari. For Instagram, what I would do is, I used to like go on it maybe like once a day or something for 20 minutes, just to kind of get that social buzz, social hit of dopamine. But the problem is 20 minutes is easily turned into 35, and then you start doom scrolling, and then it's all a mess, right? So what I did was I muted everyone on Instagram. And the good thing is you don't have to unfollow people if you don't want to. Even though I did that too, I just unfollowed a bunch of people that I don't even know in real life. By the way, you want to follow me on Instagram, the link is in the description. If you want to message me there, I can now respond back. But I muted everyone. I muted everybody that was distracting me, except maybe like my closest friends, like 5-6 people. I kind of left them there. Everybody else, I completely muted their stories and their feed posts. And even now on Instagram, every time it sends me like a meme or something that's just a distraction, I click not interested, prone the algorithm to not send me annoying stuff. Obviously, I'm never on it, but when I am, now I don't even have the itch to go on it anymore, because I know there's no dopamine left to be seen. Because when I go on it, it's just, I've programmed it that way. I can't tell you how much of a game changer this has been, because Instagram, it's been such a nightmare for me in terms of like distraction, dopamine, just all sorts of stuff. So again, mute everybody except 5 or 6 people. The other thing too on my phone, a black screen. Black screen because it's not stimulating, makes me not want to be on my phone because there's not enough dopamine there. Obviously deleted all the useless apps, no gaming apps, nothing, just the essentials, no notifications. So whatever app I could remove notifications from, I did that too because it's just distracting. And something that, I started doing, which has changed everything for me, is using WhatsApp desktop. Because for most people, like you text on your phone, you interact with your family, whatever, that's like important. You see that as important, but I moved it over to my desktop. So now I don't have a real reason to check my phone, aside from maybe phone calls. And obviously I do check it, but now I check it a lot less than before. Whereas before, I mean, look at the average person. How often do you check your phone? Are you checking it 30, 50, 100 times a day? Like, I would just check it like every 10 minutes. I mean, think about that. Is that necessary? Can you check it 4 times a day, 3 times a day, instead of every 10 minutes? Right? If you move WhatsApp to your desktop, if someone messages you and it's important, you can see it on your computer. Right? You don't need it unless when you're going out or leaving the house or something. So that's been a huge like shift for me. And obviously, like, it's gonna be different for every person. Like, you might not agree with the things that I'm saying, but the point still is, like, find a distraction to where you're weak at. And why am I on my phone? Why am I checking it 10 times a day? It's just no point. It's just ruining my focus, and it's taking time away from my work, which is gonna put me ahead and help me beat the competition, right? Something else very important: noise canceling headphones. These don't have to be expensive. Like there's $40 to $50 ones on Amazon. There's also $300 ones and more. But whichever one is fine, as long as they're these and not the tiny ones. Noise canceling, so you don't hear anything, and you're playing binaural beats in deep focus work. Like you put on YouTube, deep focus work, and then obviously something comes up. Now, I want to talk about something that personally helped me tremendously. And this is probably the biggest thing, the biggest shift for me is dressing up inside the house. I used to have a huge, like, oh my God, this used to be huge for me. So difficult, because I would work in like my pajamas. I would work in like a white t-shirt and like some shorts and some flip-flops, some slides. And that's how I would work. And not only that, like, I would also work around the house, meaning I would work in the backyard. I would work in my hammock. I would work on the couch. Sometimes I'd work at a kitchen countertop. And yeah, I'd have a desk. Like, I have a desk, but like, I'd like to move around just because I guess I would get bored. And when you start to do things like that, first of all, I wasn't dressed up. I was in some cases, sometimes on my bed too. That's even worse. But if you're, one of the things I started doing is wearing shoes inside the house, not flip-flops, not slides, obviously not barefoot, never. But what I would do is I would not wear these. I would wear slides when I was working, like on my business and on the things I need to do and all the important tasks I need to do. What happens when you do that is you don't take it seriously. And I did this for years. You don't take it seriously when you're not dressed up seriously. Now, the other extreme, the extreme end of this, and I also failed into this trap, is I would think to myself, okay, I got to take my work seriously and I got to like really show up. And then I'd think about dressing up in like some 3-piece suit and just be super sleek as if a 3-piece suit when I'm working from home and I have no meetings. That also doesn't make any sense. That's just silly. It's dumb, stupid. You're going to feel dumb. So the nice place in the middle is dressing smart casual, right? Having a smart casual wardrobe. So for example, like if you were to leave the house, you would look perfectly good, perfectly fine, but you don't have to overdress just to work from home. Don't underdress. Don't wear like flip-flops and some t-shirts, but also wear something that's smart casual, right? Where it looks like if you went to, any job in the real world, they'd take you seriously as well. So you're taking your business seriously. If you leave the house, it's fine. And you don't feel ridiculous. So it's the perfect blend of like serious enough, but not overdoing it either, right? That's the other extreme end where also it just wastes time and it makes you feel stupid while you're working. Now, something I did recently is I prepared my wardrobes. So it's like 6 or 7 throughout the week. I got a wardrobe, obviously, like a couple pants, a couple t-shirts. It's even better if it's the same pants, same t-shirts. It might even be better. But I had different ones just to kind of switch it up a little bit. Shoes inside the house. The only time, obviously, you don't have shoes on is when you're literally not working, like relaxing. Then you could obviously have slides on. But for me, this was a huge game changer. And one more thing is like working from your desk. This might not be the same for everybody, but like for me, I used to work on my couch. I used to rotate between working on my couch, working outside. I live in Miami, Florida. It's beautiful. The weather's great. So sometimes I'd like to work outside. And the problem is you just don't take it seriously. Like, there's no way you could enter a deep focus work block working from like a chair that's like laying back. It's just not happening. And it turns into lazy work, and all your work starts becoming lazy at that point. So for me, this was a huge game changer. But something else I've implemented, like I said, is low screen time. really not checking my phone as much, trying to like purposefully distance myself from my phone, and lowering my dopamine sensitivity, right? So like not scrolling YouTube shorts, eliminating the YouTube app from my phone, using Chrome extensions to block the YouTube recommendation, right? All these different things. You've probably seen some of these before, but it's so important. Like, it's more important that to implement these things and to make them a habit than to just listen to them. Because if you just listen to them and you don't do anything about it, it's huge, right? Again, really just aligning, like I said, to the 100K per month version of yourself. So here's an example of an 100K entrepreneur. Okay, this is going to be very simple. It's just an example. Don't take it literally. Like if you were an 100K entrepreneur, or whatever, the best version of yourself, how would he approach the day? For example, he would wake up, no phone. Maybe there's an alarm, but no phone. The clothes are laid out right there, so he doesn't have to think about what he's going to wear and have that decision fatigue. He's going to jump into a 3-hour focused work block with noise-canceling headphones and binaural beats. So as soon as he wakes up, he brushes his teeth, he drinks a glass of water, boom, gets straight to work. 3 hours, headphones, noise-canceling headphones. The day's planned before, knows exactly what to do. No distractions. Boom, that gets done. After that, he goes to the gym. He checks, his phone on Do Not Disturb. So he checks his phone to see if any messages or calls, or talk to whoever he has to talk to. Some basic messages back and forth, but no social media, no Instagram, no YouTube, no TikTok, nothing. 3-hour work block, goes to the gym for an hour, then comes back and does another 3-hour focused work block with no interruptions. Has his phone in another room. After that, he takes a break for an hour to eat, maybe meditate, maybe shower, whatever he needs to do in between, vitamins, etc. After that, another 2-hour deep focused work block. And then an hour break where he's going on a walk, maybe listening to a podcast. An audiobook, not a podcast. And then after that, then we go into meetings the rest of the day. So 3 hours, 2 hours, 8 hours of focused work, and then meetings the rest of the day, maybe, whatever meetings need to be done that day, if any. After that, they're going to wind down and recover. Maybe spend time with family, or spend time with their girlfriend, or whatever they need to do to relax, and get ready for the next day. Obviously eat if that's something important as well. That's pretty much it. That's the example of an 100K entrepreneur. Now, it's very important to look at the details, because if they're waking up, checking their phone, and they're doing 3 hours of work, but it's interrupted, they're checking their phone, they're scrolling, they're, eating on their desk and eating a sandwich, and then going on TikTok and YouTube shorts and working a little bit, that's not going to happen. It's just a mess. Nobody is going to. The details are important, because if you're going to align to this person, you have to become that person before you can become that person. So that's a good example. Obviously, it might be different for every person. Not everybody's going to follow the same exact routine and same exact schedule. Now, here's an important question, and the most important question when watching this video. I believe this is the last slide as well. Yeah. How aligned are you to the 100K version of yourself? Answer that question. How aligned are your habits, your actions, your consistency? Are you truly deserving of the goal based on your inputs alone? You need to answer that question. And here's a test. Here's the fun part. This is the analogy. The gun to your head analogy. So if someone right now, just picture this, okay? If someone right now held a gun to your head and asked if you were 100% aligned to the best version of you, and you were hooked up to a lie detector test, and let's just say God or the universe, whatever you believe in, let's say they were the judge, meaning God or the universe, they knew if you were lying or not, and you had a gun to your head, and if you lied, the trigger would go off and you would die. GG. So you can't lie, because the universe knows. If you lie, you lose. And they ask you, John, or whatever your name is, are you 100%, not 99, 100% aligned to the best version of you, to the 100K version of you? Yes or no? If you lie, you die. Obviously, it's an extreme example, but this is how the world works. Because if the answer was, if you can say absolutely, with 100% conviction, and you know you're telling the truth, and then they can't pull the trigger because it's the truth. Congratulations, you are officially a G, and you're gonna accomplish the goals you set out to accomplish. It's just a matter of time. But for 99%, including myself, if the answer is no, then there you go. You have some work to do. So the question is, what can you do today to get a bit closer? And if you want, by the way, steal this question. Put it on your journal that you look at every single day. And there's your test. There's your standard. Is this happening? Yes or no? If the answer is no, then we have to be honest. Like we can set goals in the future. We can visualize them every day. We can have them on our journal. We can, be in the state of the wish fulfilled, living in the end. But if this is not aligned, then subconsciously you're gonna feel like you don't deserve it, and that's the problem. And your conviction is gonna be low. If this is aligned, your conviction is gonna be an all-time high. Your frequency is gonna be high. Your confidence is gonna be high, and it's just gonna snowball and snowball and snowball until it becomes an inevitability. This is the foundation. This is the principal question you need to ask yourself. And if you do that, you'll be aligned to that version of yourself.